माधव अष्टसखी की जय। हरे कृष्णा। श्री श्री राधा माधव अष्टसखी की जय। जगतत्व भगवान की जय। राधापुर जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा मई की जय। गौर निताई की जय। नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय। हरे कृष्णा। वार्म वेलकम टू everybody for this morning's japa yagna. There are 34 of us plus. So nice to see all of you early morning. Firstly, on behalf of our leader, I thank all the people who did their japa service nicely. Let's move on to the next part of the morning. Always the sweet part, the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'll do a very short kirtan and then we can go into the class. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Yashodanandana Raja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Raja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Gandharvika Giridhari Gaura Hari Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Ananta De Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Ananta De Ritai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Ritai Gaura Hari Bol Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Pratit Pam Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you for this service, Prabhu. It's very glorifying. When I came to know yesterday, I have another chance, another double bonanza. One more chance I'm getting to purify myself. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Reading from chapter 1, Canto 1, chapter 7, text 11. I'll just share the screen so that others can see this also. I hope this is seen now. Yes. Okay. If someone is free, can read after me.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Harer guna kshiptamatir.
Hare Guna Kshiptamatir.
Bhagavan Badarayanihi.
Bhagavan Badarayani.
Adyagan Mahad Akyanam.
Adhyagan Mahat Akyanam.
Nityam Vishnu Janapriyaha.
Nityam Vishnu Janapriyaha.
Thank you, Mataji. Word to win, meaning, translation, and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Harer, of Hari, the personality of Godhead. Guna, the transcendental attributes. Akshit Pita, being absorbed in Matihi, mind. Bhagavan, powerful. Bhadarayanihi, the son of Vyasadeva. Adhyagat, underwent studies. Mahat, great. Akyanam, narration. Nityam, regularly. Vishnu Jana, that is devotees of the Lord. Priyaha, beloved. Translation. Srila Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Srila Vyasadeva, was not only transcendently powerful, he was also very dear to the devotees of the Lord. Thus, he underwent a study of great narration of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's just about 3 paragraphs. I'll quickly read them. According to Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Srila Sukadeva Goswami was a liberated soul. Even within the womb of his mother, Srila Vyasadeva knew that the child after this birth would not stay at home. Therefore, he, Vyasadeva, impressed upon him with a synopsis of Bhagavatam so that the child could be made attached to the transcendental activities of the Lord. After his birth, the child was still more educated in the subject of Bhagavatam by recitation of the actual poems. The idea is great, is that generally a liberated soul are attached to the feature of impersonal Brahman with a monistic view of becoming one with the Supreme Whole. But by the association of pure devotees like Vyasadeva, even liberated soul becomes attracted to the transcendental qualities of the Lord. By the mercy of Srila Narada, Srila Vyasadeva was able to narrate the great epic of Srimad Bhagavatam. And by the mercy, look at how Srila Prabhupada uses these things. By the mercy of Vyasadeva, Srila Sukadeva Goswami was able to grasp the import. The transcendental qualities of the Lord are so attractive that even that Srila Sukadeva Goswami became detached from being completely absorbed in the impersonal Brahman and positively took to the personal activity of the Lord. Practically, he was thrown from the impersonal conception of the Absolute, thinking within himself that he had simply wasted so much time in devoting himself to the impersonal feature of the Supreme. Or in other words, he realized more transcendental bliss with the personal feature than the impersonal. And from that time, not only did himself become very dear to Vishnu Janas, the devotees of the Lord, but also the Vishnu Janas became dear to him. The devotees of the Lord who do not wish to kill the individuality of the living entity and who desire to become personal servitors of the Lord do not very much like the impersonalist. And similarly, the impersonalists who desire to become one with the Supreme are unable to elevate the devotees of the Lord. Thus, from time immemorial, these two transcendental pilgrims have sometimes become competitors. In other words, each of them likes to keep separate from other because of the ultimate personal and impersonal realizations. Therefore, it appears that Srila Sukadeva Goswami was also no liking for the devotees, but he himself became saturated devotee. He desired always the transcendental association of Vishnu Janas, and the Vishnu Janas also liked this association since he became personal Bhagavata. But both the son and the father were completely cognizant of the transcendental knowledge in Brahman. And afterwards, both of them became absorbed in the personal features of the Supreme Lord. The question as to how Sukadeva Goswami was attracted by the narration of Bhagavata is thus completely answered in this shloka. Let me, before chanting, before getting into the verse, let me seek the prayers of all Guru and this Parampara and all the Vaishnavas out here. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshurun Militamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yudapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Nagunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karna Sindhu Dhinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Jayapataka Swami Dinamini Namo Acharya Padaya Nitaya Padaya Gaura Bhakta Damadaya Nagaratama Tarini. Hare Krishna. I'll keep it like this so I know the Zoom is on. So this another important verse. Harer guna kshipta mathir bhagavan badarayani adhyagan mahat akyanam nityam Vishnu priya janapriya. Srila Sukadev Goswami, son of Srila Vyasadeva, was not only transcendently powerful, he was also very dear to the devotees of the Lord. Thus he underwent the study of this great narration, Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so we heard very nicely from, I would like to take shelter under the previous verse, primarily because it's the pinnacle of verses in our parampara, and then come on to this. Of course, we had Gopal Krishna Karunadas very nicely stating the last verse. It's such an important verse in our parampara, in Srimad Bhagavatam itself, and especially our parampara, because I'm told that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, not only this verse, there's an entire chapter for this. So that is the kind of importance we have in our parampara. Okay. So he told us why from an Atma Rama to Murgari would become devotees, and very nicely explained what is Bhagavatam, Ba, Ga, Va, and Tam. How nicely he gave the meanings: Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya, and then determination. That is your tattva. Okay. So, and also very nicely summarized one or two very beautiful points. There is nothing in the material world we need to complete. Okay. And matter does not matter. So, so wonderful. And how the entire summary is that the Krishna is attractive, right? So, I wanted to, of course, we heard that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discussed this with it's different ways. We'll just go a little bit a detail on this so that I heard one lecture and I thought I'll share this few points here. So we all came to know this. Yes, Krishna is attractive, not just for normal people, but even the self-realized, right? Because he is Ittam Bhutva Gunahari. Everybody gets attracted to Krishna. And in that lecture I heard, apparently in one of the northern, I think it was Bihar, there was this huge famous yoga school. And of course, top teachers teaching the topmost of their children, they were there and they were all teaching for 1 or 2 decades. And there was one such person inside who's been there for over 15 years and seen all the seniors serving them. He was also a part of the yoga. So he had narrated this to this particular speaker, who was a senior Vaishnava, that however they were doing all this yoga, which is primarily meant for the body, in their end of their lives, they had asked the younger devotees to bring Srimad Bhagavatam, and when they were leaving the body, they asked them to read Srimad Bhagavatam to them. So if that is what they want to do at the end of their lives, why not we start doing it right now? Right? They could not do. Till they were fit enough, they were doing their yoga. But when they were not able to move, they wanted to hear about Krishna. So that is the power of Srimad Bhagavatam and hearing about all attractive Krishna. So though Sukadev Goswami was a monoist, completely self-satisfied, in an impersonal aspect, Vyasadeva made him to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and that made him mad about Krishna. Imagine 16-year-old boy walking away, running. He knew very well that he's not going to stay. So they spoke. Prabhu was mentioning that he spoke 2 important verses to Sukadeva Goswami, which made him stop here about that. Primarily describing Krishna's beauty, right? The way he wears lily flowers, dazzling yellow garments, how he, uses his flute, pouring nectar into this flute, and then about Gopa friends, and primarily entering Vrindavan. And the next one, we all know how merciful he was with Putana. So these two verses changed Sukadeva Goswami's entire aspect, right? So I believe when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was discussing this verse with the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he asked him, you explain this. Remember, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is none other than incarnation of Brahaspati. So when he was trying to make him a devotee, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gave 9 different ways. Now, then he very curiously asked, you are quiet, can you explain to me? Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained 18 different ways without touching the 9 explanations he gave. And we all know that when Sanatana Goswami met him in Prayag, and when he heard that, he asked, I remember you have spoken, I heard that you have spoken these things, can you please share it with me? Then just look at what Mahaprabhu answered him. He said, no, I was mad of Krishna, and I was also discussing with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who's also mad. Now, if you bless me, I can speak something. Imagine he's telling this to Sanatana Goswami. And then after that, that is when, our Gopal Krishna Prabhu said, he gave some 60 or 61 odd explanations to Sanatana Goswami. Okay. And the summary is that, yes, we all can get attracted. By why? But why we get attracted? Just because Itham Bhutva Guna, that is, he's got unlimited qualities. Okay. We all know how 4 Kumaras, they were highly realized souls. They didn't even want to grow up. Because of their yogic power, they decided that they will be small boys, okay? Impersonal, most monoist, like Sukadeva Goswami. But how did they get attracted? Just when Vishnu was coming towards them, just the tulsi leaf, which is on his lotus feet, that fragrance coming out, which is mixed with the dust of lotus feet, carried it to these 4 young boys, and they became mad, okay? Those supposedly peaceful people got agitated. They gave up their impersonal position and surrendered. We all know how gopis, they were so attracted to the beauty of Krishna, his features, the smile, okay? And so nicely Maharaja said that the eyes, the corner of the eyes, if he sees, gopis were going mad. And the smile, the forehead, everything. And that is why they were angry with Brahma. Why have you given us eyelids? Because that eyelid for the few seconds cannot see Krishna. We know how Rukmini, just by hearing Krishna, was in so much in love. Okay. So why I said that is, unless we know there are wonderful verses in Bhagavatam which describes Krishna, why everybody can fall in love with Krishna. So in today's verse, specifically, what is focused is describes how we can become close to the other devotees. Actually, the entire rules of friendship is given out here. We are having friendship day, other day, and we pick up give huge gifts. But here, so simply it is given in this verse. How to develop loving, friendly relationship with other devotees. How we can develop deep Vaishnava relationship. This sloka gives us the important lesson for all of us. So the sages of Naimisharanya asked Sutta Goswami the same thing. Something about Sukadeva Goswami. How come Sukadeva Goswami, who is such a liberated soul, such a satisfied sage, very exalted person himself, why did he take the effort of studying Bhagavatam under the guidance of Vyasadeva? So Sutta Goswami is replied, whether it's an Atma Rama, that is a self-satisfied stage, a very thoughtful person, whether Muni or Nirgrantha, right? They also, even an ignorant person also can become completely attached to the qualities. When you hear about Krishna, when you begin, and when you start beginning to perform unmotivated bhakti onto Lord Krishna. Okay, so similarly, Sutta Goswami also got attracted to Krishna, right? Imagine, I was telling you that he was running away. from the father, as he was completely satisfied, walking naked, that he was in a different stage. Then Vyasadeva, as we just heard from Prabhu also, that he had to ask his disciples, please go and narrate the Srimad Bhagavatam, 2 important verses. Okay, when he heard the sweetness, the qualities of Krishna written by his own father, remember, and which is whatever, compiled as Srimad Bhagavatam, very happily came back to Vyasadeva, sat in his class and heard Srimad Bhagavatam under the guidance. That's why whenever you read Srila Prabhupada's narration, the purports, he always says, so important to keep remembering this, right? So by the mercy of Srila Narada, Srila Vyasadeva was able to narrate the epic of Srimad Bhagavatam everywhere so nicely that it's a gentle reminder to all of us that whatever we have achieved or whatever we are able to understand is by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, who by their seniors and that way from their Guru. So by the mercy of Guru Gauranga and the senior Vaishnavas only we can understand these verses. Okay, so otherwise what is the qualification? At least I have to even read and understand. But so after hearing the sweet pastimes, Srila Sukadeva Goswami got the understanding. Now, of course, we all know later on what did he do? He spoke the same to Parikshit Maharaj, Sutta Goswami, and so many assembled sages, right? But now, because Sukadeva Goswami became so attracted and captivated on what? On the qualities of Krishna and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, that he became dear to the devotees. That is what is this sloka saying, right? Because Nityam Vishnu Jana Priyaha, right? What does this sloka say fully? Kshipta Matir, right? So Srila Sukadeva Goswami's Matir, the mind or the heart, is completely captivated with the beautiful qualities of Hari. Bhagavan Bhadarayanahi, that is being captivated with the Lord qualities of Hari. Srimad Sukadeva Goswami studied Srimad Bhagavatam. Then it says Mahat Akyanam. This wonderful, elaborate and great narration of Srimad Bhagavatam is being very well studied by Sukadeva Goswami. Then he became a lover of Krishna. And what did he get result by doing all this? What was the result? Nityam Vishnu Jana Priyaha. Sukadeva Goswami was so dear to Vishnu Janas, okay, that is all the devotees of Krishna. Now here, this Vishnu Jana Priya can also mean this, that all devotees of Vishnu or Krishna also became dear to Sukadeva Goswami, right? So, meaning, when Sukadeva Goswami loved Krishna, okay, because he got attracted to the qualities of Krishna, and because Sukadeva Goswami studied Krishna, he became dear to devotees, and devotees became dear to him. Meaning, when we get attracted to Krishna, his qualities, then when we start studying Srimad Bhagavatam, we become closer to other devotees. And look at the double bonanza, as I said, the other devotees can also become closer to us. This is the very effective way of developing genuine, friendly Vaishnava relationships. Okay, why? Because the Vaishnava's relation is based on the devotee's attraction towards Krishna. When we love Krishna, naturally we love Krishna's devotees. And when we love Krishna, Krishna's devotees also naturally love us. Okay, please, Prabhujis and Matajis, hear this, how this entire thing works. When we love Krishna, naturally, we also love Krishna's devotees. And because this action is happening, because this the entire thing is, we are keeping Krishna in the center, naturally Krishna's devotees also love us. What is the relationship between the two devotees? Krishna is in the center. That's it. This is what is the shloka saying. When we read Srimad Bhagavatam regularly, in the association of devotees, by the guidance of a senior Vaishnava, all this cordial relationships, close, friendly relationships start developing in us. So what should we do? Simply allow Krishna in our heart. We all went to participated in Jagannath Rath Yatra, pull the Ratha in our also. The same way we pull him into our heart. And you never know how you get attracted. Sometimes new devotees can be attracted by all the shloka, by the dana, but some can like the singing, some like the worship, some could like the chanting. Whatever talent you can use it for Krishna. Many people I know in the initial days when I used to attend Aratis in ISKCON, I used to like that Govindam Adi Purusham, right? Just that the moment you do that, the deities are the doors are open. It was absolutely in a transcendental plane, just this nice incense being given to the lordships, and they were looking so beautiful, three doors with such. And then amongst the mist was Krishna, as though it was like Krishna coming out of the clouds and giving darshan to us, right? So this is a wonderful song which Yamuna Mataji was allowed to sing by Srila Prabhupada. So that would be some attraction. So each one can have some individual attraction. So Vyasadeva realized Krishna's sweetness after hearing from Narada Muni. And then Sukadeva Goswami heard it from Vyasadeva. And when Sukadeva Goswami was giving a class, imagine who all sat down. It was Vyasadeva, Narada Muni, all were sitting and hearing it. Can you just even imagine? Then he realized Vishnu Janapriya. You can become dear to devotees, and now devotees can become dear to her if you connect to Krishna. If you want to love devotees, if you want to love and serve them, we need houses. Look at the summary. It's not as if you need to separately develop any relationship. That if you getting connected, more and more connected to Krishna, only then there is in our heart does this loving exchange between devotees exist, that it starts getting generated. Then we feel attracted to Krishna. The relationship with us will become stronger. When I'm telling this, I'm talking the relationship with our devotees also, but only if you keep Krishna in the center. So by doing this, Prabhupada ends here by saying, he also, and this is the first set of question which he answered. Do you recollect I think this was in 4th chapter, there was this questions which was asked by, apart from the first 6 questions, there were 3 more questions which was asked by Sonak Rishi. Tell about Srimad Bhagavatam, where and how, on whose inspiration did Vyasadeva compile it, right? For that, right from 4th chapter, right up to 7th chapter, 11th verse, this particular verse, he kind of answers this. Second, of course, he asks about Parikshit Maharaj, which will go on to be explained from the next verse onwards. So now and then we need to zoom out. You need to understand what is the sequence happening. So these were the few points which of course, there are so many lines in which Prabhupada's purport is so beautiful, wonderful, and we can, spend time on, right? I even like the word Prabhupada uses, from time immemorial, these two transcendental pilgrimages have sometimes been competitors, okay? But then finally, thus both the son and the father were completely cognizant of transcendental knowledge in Brahman, and therefore were absorbed in the personal feature of the Supreme Lord. Time and again, Prabhupada brings this aspect of being very personal feature of the Lord. So these were the few points I listed out. So kind of to summarize, we learned how important this verse 10 was, right? Especially in our parampara, in our entire, it's a pinnacle verse, we can call it. So Sukadeva Goswami, being a monoist himself, got transferred after hearing Srimad Bhagavatam to a couple of verses. And these were spoken to bring back Sukadeva Goswami. We learned that from his father, he learned it, and he spoke to Suta Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. The key line, as Gopal Krishna Prabhu said it, is just Krishna is attractive. Uniqueness is that he can attract even the self-realized soul. We learned how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke about this in so many different ways. We learned how Kumaras, Gopis, Rukmini, all of them were attracted just by hearing about Krishna. And then, most important, if we need to develop friendship to other devotees, Nithyam Janapriya, Vishnu Janapriya, allow Krishna in your heart, right? and somehow he will inspire us to focus more on Krishna and thus develop loving relationship with devotees. And if you want to love and serve devotees, we need to get connected only with Krishna. Only with our relationship with Krishna improves, will we become stronger in our relationship with devotees and keeping Krishna in the center. This is what I wanted to share, Prabhuji, today. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Please let me know if I made any mistakes and share some points. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.